I'm Kate Burgener. I'm a graphic designer and I specialize in interactive PDFs. The work that I do can take a really standard static PDF, workbook, lead magnet, other kind of tool, and transform it into something that is extremely actionable, removes friction for users, and teaches in a whole new way by guiding users through a process one step at a time. Right now, I am working on an interactive lead magnet that demonstrates all of the interactivity that I can introduce into a PDF to help turn it from something really standard to something that's really very actionable and dynamic for the users. So this week, I have a special kind of quiz that people can go through and check the statements that apply to their own situation. And then there is a counter that shows how many things have been checked. So they don't have to go back and figure out how many statements they identify with. And then using that number, usually they can compare it against ranges or categories to help them know sort of where they fall on a spectrum. And that answer can be used to direct their progress through the workbook in a different way. Maybe if they have less familiarity with a system, they want to start with something earlier in the workbook. If they have more familiarity, maybe they hop to a later section because they already kind of know the basics. So it's really useful for people to be able to categorize themselves and identify how best to use the tool and maybe how much they need the tool itself. So let's hop on in so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so now we are inside the lead magnet. This is the section that I've used for this kind of count if quiz, and it shows different goals that somebody might be. And the purpose of this is, first of all, to demonstrate what it can do, but also if people truly are not identifying with these goals, this will tell them right away if interactivity is not a good fit for them. And there's reasons why it might not be. But obviously, this is written kind of as a list of benefits. So it's written to appeal to people to say, yeah, I also want that, and result in a higher score. And really, again, it's more just to demonstrate what this is capable of, but it's also a good way of like assessing whether somebody is ready for the idea of the interactivity that I'm about to present. So they might check off the checkboxes and say, oh, hey, this is adding things up as I go along. And then generally I like to put the categories or the range categories on the same page, but this was just too wordy because I've never been good at being brief. So on the second page, we have the categories, and they say a little bit more about what might apply to the range that the person's in. So it might align really closely with the project you're already working on. And then maybe when they look at that, they're like, hang on, I do want to stand out. I know how to write a specific kind of copy and I want to guide people through it. I want to guide people on reflecting and refining their own work. So this can change dynamically as people check and uncheck the statements in the COUNTIF quiz. And if there were a separate, I could get a separate button that would say, okay, calculate my score, and it would like highlight where the person lies in the categories. But it just seemed like a step too far. It's dynamic. You can see the number here. It's easy to see where it slots in here. But that's also an option if somebody was like, yes, I really want to add another bell and whistle to this quiz. And then just like the other sections, we have a toggle here that shows a little bit more about what's happening with the tool and what kind of application it would have in the real world. That's it for today. I think that this is kind of a simple but really nice piece of functionality to include into interactive PDF. It helps people kind of sort themselves into different buckets really quickly. And for some processes, that's going to be really helpful. And then maybe under each of those categories, you could say, hey, you are probably want to start here, and you can click here and it'll jump you to the right spot. It might jump you back to go over some other things. It kind of depends where it falls within the tool itself. And then there's just a lot of opportunities for how you could use a COUNTIF quiz like this that shows people where they fall on a spectrum and what they can improve on or what they're already good at. And it really can make the project feel more dynamic and really help the people figure out where they're at in the process. So, if this is an interesting process to you, the whole lead magnet and the interactivity, and you want to get on my newsletter so you get it as soon as it's live, I'm going to include a link in the description that you can just hop over there and sign on to my newsletter. And I will be back soon with what else happens when you check boxes in this CountIF quiz. I'll see you next time.